Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. Walter Wangerin Jr. died this past August, and although you might not have heard of him, it's a great loss for the church, and for us as Lutherans especially. For many years I have considered him to be one of the greatest Christian writers we have, and as a Lutheran pastor, he writes from a Lutheran perspective. He writes in rich and deep prose, so much so that I find I usually have to read him slowly, little bits at the time, so that I can absorb all he says. He first came to our attention with his book Ragman and Other Cries of Faith, and one of my favorite works of his is called Ms. Lil in the Chronicles of Grace. He's written books on family and childhood, one on mourning and grief, and more recently one about his reflections on having cancer. This week following Easter, as we celebrate the resurrection, my plan is to present to you some of his best stories that are found sprinkled throughout his books. Over and over, I think you'll see Jesus. Our story today, Ragman. Even before dawn one Friday morning, I noticed a young man, handsome and strong, walking the alleys of our city. He was pulling an old cart filled with cloths, both bright and new, and he was calling in a clear tenor voice, "Rags!" Ah, the air was foul and the first light filthy to be crossed by such sweet music. "Rags, new rags for old! I take your tired rags, rags!" Now this is a wonder, I thought to myself, for the man stood 6'4", and his arms were like tree limbs, hard and muscular, and his eyes flashed intelligence. Could he find no better job than this, to be a ragman in the inner city? I followed him. My curiosity drove me, and I wasn't disappointed. Soon the ragman saw a woman sitting on her back porch. She was sobbing into a handkerchief, sighing and shedding 1,000 tears. Her shoulders shook. Her heart was breaking. The ragman stopped his cart. Quietly he walked to the woman, stepping round tin cans, dead toys, and dirty Pampers. "Give me your rag," he said so gently, "and I'll give you another." He slipped the handkerchief from her eyes. She looked up, and he laid across her palm a linen cloth so clean and new that it shined. She blinked from the gift to the giver. Then, as he began to pull his cart again, the ragman did a strange thing. He put her stained handkerchief to his own face, and then he began to weep, to sob as grievously as she had done, his shoulders shaking. Yet she was left without a tear. "This is a wonder," I breathed to myself, and I followed the sobbing ragman like a child who cannot turn away from mystery. "Rags, rags, new rags for old!" In a little while, when the sky showed gray behind the rooftops and I could see the shredded curtains hanging out black windows, the ragman came upon a girl whose head was wrapped in a bandage, whose eyes were empty. Blood soaked her bandage. A single line of blood ran down her cheek. The tall ragman looked upon this child with pity, and he drew a lovely yellow bonnet from his cart. "Give me your rag," he said, tracing his own line on her cheek, "and I'll give you mine." The child could only gaze at him while he loosened the bandage, removed it, and tied it on his own head. The bonnet he set on hers, and I gasped at what I saw, for with the bandage went the wound. Against his brow it ran a darker, more substantial blood, his own. "Rags, Rags, I take old Rags," cried the sobbing, bleeding, strong, intelligent Ragman. The sun hurt both the sky now and my eyes. The Ragman seemed more and more to hurry. "Are you going to work?" he asked a man who leaned against a telephone pole. The man shook his head. The Ragman pressed him. "Do you have a job?" "Are you crazy?" sneered the other. He pulled away from the pole, revealing the right sleeve of his jacket, flat, the coat stuffed in the pocket. He had no arm. "So," said the Ragman, "give me your jacket, and I'll give you mine." Such quiet authority in his voice. The one-armed man took off his jacket. So did the Ragman, and I trembled at what I saw. For the Ragman's arm stayed in its sleeve, and when the other put it on, he had two good arms, thick as tree limbs. But the Ragman had only one. "Go to work," he said. After that he found a drunk lying unconscious beneath an army blanket, and an old man hunched, wizened, and sick. He took that blanket and wrapped it around himself, but for the drunk he left new clothes. And now I had to run to keep up with the Ragman. Though he was weeping uncontrollably and bleeding freely at the forehead, pulling his cart with one arm, stumbling for drunkenness, falling again and again, exhausted, old and sick. Yet he went with terrible speed. On spider's legs he skittered through the alleys of a city, this mile and the next, until he came to its limits, and then he rushed beyond. I wept to see the change in this man. I hurt to see his sorrow. And yet I needed to see where he was going in such haste, perhaps to know what drove him so. The little old Ragman, he came to a landfill. He came to the garbage pits. And then I wanted to help him in what he did, but I hung back, hiding. He climbed a hill. With tormented labor, he cleared a little space on that hill. Then he sighed. He lay down. He pillowed his head on a handkerchief and a jacket. He covered his bones with an army blanket. And he died. Oh, how I cried to witness that death. I slumped in a junked car and wailed and mourned as one who had no hope, because I had come to love the Ragman. Every other face had faded in the wonder of this man, and I cherished him. But he died. I sobbed myself to sleep. I did not know, how could I know, that I slept through Friday night and Saturday and its night too. But then on Sunday morning I was wakened by a violence. Light, pure, hard, demanding light, slammed against my sour face, and I blinked and I looked, and I saw the last and first wonder of all. There was the Ragman, folding the blanket most carefully, a scar on his forehead, but alive. There was no sign of sorrow nor of age, and all the rags that he had gathered shined for cleanliness. Well then, I lowered my head, and trembling for all I had seen, I myself walked up to the Ragman. I told him my name with shame, for I was a sorry figure next to him. And then I said to him with dear yearning in my voice, "Dress me." He dressed me. He put new rags on me, and I am a wonder beside him. The Ragman, the Ragman, the Christ. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.